How you guys doing? We're going over the Las Vegas weekend. I apologize, I have wet hair and everything, but I have quite a lot to do today, and I really only have this time to record this. Otherwise, you have to wait till Thursday. I got about 45 minutes to go over all three of these races here. So very quickly, as we've stated, the lap by lap and the contest review app will be on the site shortly. Expecting it to be before April, but you'll have access to these tools as well for you to be able to do this on your own time. Obviously, I'll still do it, but like this is a tool that you'll have access to. Um, let's go ahead and start with the Cup Series race. So I got to figure out what CSV it is. So give me a moment here. Okay, that was the wrong direction. Yeah, I don't know which one it is here, so we'll just kind of keep that's Xfinity. Is this Cup? Yeah. Okay. So when we look at the Cup Series race here, we are looking at the Las Vegas race from this weekend here. And when we go through and look at how everybody performed and everything, now this is a race that, and the reason why I'm jumping into this one really fast is because, like, obviously it's clearest in the mind of what happened and everything like that. So first and foremost, before we jump into it, yet again, this is a review from not only like my standpoint of how I did, because obviously this is my show, but still what we can learn, what we can see from things, and so on and so forth. Now, this is not explicitly used for me to just jerk myself off on here, but yet again, this is just reviewing of how I view things or how I look at things, and if I feel like I'm doing something right, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm glad I see the data supporting this. If I don't, obviously I'll say the same thing. When we look at this race here, before we really dive into it, the fact that we had so many yellows and so many different lap leaders and stuff, which I expected it to be that way. I didn't think we'd be, breaking the record for the amount of lap leaders and stuff here. But if you distinctly remember on the Sunday show, when we were looking over past races and stuff, the race of the next gen cars that we looked at, the race that I wanted to focus on was the one of the Kansas races. I believe it was the second one that had your lap leaders be spread out and multiple people, leading, and not really necessarily one person ran away with the field. Okay, yet again, to retread old things or old topics and stuff, I really, really dislike using the word dominator. Okay, from a analytical perspective, or from just watching people build lineups for like 8 years now or whatever. When people use the term dominator, it like closes their mind on what can happen, because they see those as potential lap leaders, and then they see everybody else's place differential. Okay, yes, we had a huge amount of people lead laps in this race, but they're also people that you would just have to consider to potentially get fast laps and laps led. That's why I specifically make an effort to enunciate and bring up, hey, this guy can get fast laps and laps led and blah 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 whenever we're building lineups. Just first and foremost, let's just look at the amount of laps led in this race. Okay, we had 61, 47, 40, 33, 19, 18, 13, and 12. We're not looking at the drivers at the moment. We're just looking through here. We're looking at the distribution of how the race was. We look at the amount of fast laps at 40, 23, 21, 17, 16. I mean, we were pretty spread out amongst the board on these. Okay, so what does this do from a database perspective? If we're looking at the way that I do stuff, which I'm not exactly sure how I want to place Las Vegas one, because obviously I do my running total here. The fact that I'm gonna include it, but I'm gonna have to have a lot of greasy hands involved in how we set things up here, because all these other races we've had, it's kind of clear and understanding of where people are at and stuff like that. Here, it's going to be really dependent on where they were in the race, what the strategy they did. Like, for example, just at the end of the race with Reddick and Hamlin pitting, like, why do people do that? Why do you just actively throw yourself a lap down? Like, regardless if Gregson blows a tire or not, why purposely put yourself at a deficit to the field and not just stay out? Like, that's Hamlin and Reddick both threw away finishes by doing that. When we look at we'll come back to this in a minute. When we look at the running position for people. Obviously, Josh Berry won the race, but let's go ahead and look at and we'll talk Josh Berry as well. Also, when we looked at like my project, we'll just show it from here. I had things very spread out, which it's very, very rare that I have projections this close together on potential like lap leaders and stuff. I was, which that ended up happening. But it's usually very rare that I don't have true favorites in terms of people who can lead laps and stuff. And the fact that, Larson, Byron, Bowman, Logano, all these guys were pretty much projected the same for me, led for me to being pretty spread out and how this race went out. And obviously I went very, very overweight on Blaney due to the fact that, hey, if everything can be spread out up top, let me be overweight on the play that is showing optimal and showing to be a good play. Really, whatever happens up here, that's why I went overweight on Blaney here. But these guys I went on, and then clearly have very, very heavy on Ty Gibbs, as we're expecting things to be turned around at some point, which we'll discuss. Same because like Chris Wright was optimal on Friday. I played Chris Wright. Like people have to not be so, blinded to, is this guy a bad player or not? Like you just, you got to put performances behind you and stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at. Let's go ahead and look at the big favorites here. So we had Reddick. You had Reddick. You have Larson. You had Bell, starts in the back of the field. Actually, I need to be on this side so I can just see who's the big guys. Bowman and Chastain. Those are the guys I was thinking of. I think I can only do 5 here. Could be wrong. Let's see if we can get. Oh, Tech, yeah, dude, I can get. Okay, cool. So this is pretty much the guys who showed the most amount of speed in the race at any given point. Now, the reason I have Bell up here is because now I understand that like on your screen, my little guy is chopping this off here, but luckily nobody's here outside of like as I said, Reddick pitted here, and he just drops off the face of the earth like here. Let's do. Here we go. That's better. We got the banner off and everything here, so we can just look at where you can see everybody falls in line at. Just so you can see, as we look at kind of where everybody was at. So Logano beats McDowell like right off the back of the field, and I know all these fast laps are accurate. Also, we'll come back to this in a second. Just a note, I did ask, as we're still finalizing things before it goes live, I did ask, the one thing I did ask Stuka specifically to make is the fast lap position analysis, and it's just, we're trying to understand where people are at in terms of setting the fastest lap to better, for me, I mean, this is my answer to better project where fast laps and stuff come from. As always, the leaders is not whatever. Now, I know the fact that the first ones are always correct. I'm pretty sure we have it fixed now, but there was some issues with guys being a lap down and when it would be counted in the database and stuff. But I'm pretty sure these are accurate because most of these are guys who were trapped a lap down at some point, and it did correctly end up giving them the fastest lap because they're obviously they're off sequence of the rest of the field. So let's give a 5% ish, inaccurate percentage or whatever as like the worst case. But we did see leader get around 29, not leader get around 34, but people in the top 5, outside of the top 10. A lot of this can be accredited to, Briscoe being a lap down, Hamlin being a lap down, people speeding and stuff like that. And people in the top 10, not in the top 5, getting fast laps. And so we did see laps, or fast laps be distributed between, obviously, the leader and not leader and stuff at around a 29%, clip rate. And so, like, 1 out of every 3 laps they're getting, or less than 1 out of every 3 laps the leader is leading, he's getting a fast lap for, which is Something to note going into Homestead, I'll probably expect it to be very similar to this as well, with the drastic lines that people make, the difference of tire wear people have, and stuff like that. As we continue to go back to the running position, we see where people were running at. Obviously, we see Logano be fine here. We'll go ahead and take off. Take off Chastain. Let's follow these front runners first here. We'll take off Bell as well. So now we're just looking at Logano, Bowman, Reddick, and Larson and stuff. So this is their days stuff. And so obviously we get that yellow early in the field, which I need to take a quick look. Hold on. I don't know what the heck happened there. I don't know why our thing was going live on Restream and nobody in there. We look at the early yellow. It was a tire issue. Oh, thank God for people. Thank you for all the help. I don't remember who blew the tire on lap 34. But we get the early yellow. And it was pretty much when everybody was going to... that could have been the Briscoe, actually. Yeah, Briscoe did lose the tire during green flag pit stops. That's what it was. So obviously, we're in expected, pit stops and everything, and we're seeing where everybody is coming in and out at. Now, Logano gains quite a lot of positions during this sequence, and not a lot of let me change it. Doesn't lose anything. Obviously, Bowman, is able to take advantage of when all the chaos is happening and inherits, a good running position here. And the leader at this point, it's the only thing that when I'm using this, I'm looking at specific driver by driver stuff. The leader at this position or at this point in the race is, we're kind of swapping. This is when, what is this? Lap 40. Cindric's lead, and then Bowman takes over at 41, and then Cindric leads from 43 to 84, which I guess we can add Cindric in there as well. So we can see where two cars at. So this is just where Cindric is leading as well. But when we're looking at these three guys here, who had the best car of who, or in a sense of who was able to drive through the field, who was able to show speed, I think this is very impressive. A lot of people were looking at Larson being trapped in the field today, or at least, I'm obviously I just, kind of look around and see what people are saying on Twitter. And a lot of the casual consensus, not DFS players, just casual fans, like, Dirty Air was terrible. Larson, for example, can drive through the field. I think this is pretty impressive to see Larson drive through the field during these green flag conditions, especially late in the race here. That's impressive. That's showing that Larson had a good amount of speed, whereas Reddick, I don't know why. I don't know why ownership. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and look here. Hold on. Yeah, this throughout. I don't know why. So a lot of this ownership, it made sense, but it didn't make sense here. So let's go ahead and get this. And what I mean by that is, so as somebody who played Byron pretty much every race last year, and yet again, I have been very heavy on Byron, with how he ran at these races. Okay, he didn't work out a lot last year. It was very rare. Byron would very much be the second or third best car and would just fail to get the lead and just underperform on a week-in-week basis. I played Byron in like 30 to 38% of lines last year, like on any given week, right? And he just constantly kept underperforming, like to my expectations, right? Now, yet again, the reason I'm bringing this up is I don't know why he was at 39. I don't know why DraftKings was so high on him in terms, he was like the second favorite entering the race from a sportsbook perspective. I don't know why that was. I don't understand that. I don't know why people pushed and talked about Reddick so much, and Reddick came in at 29% ownership. That's like really weird to me, because entering this race, and like Reddick was being talked up a lot by people, and I would argue that this is much more, him being the best car at Darlington and Homestead and stuff, probably lended more to what you'd want to see versus Byron, who was very much like a third to fourth best guy. Now, granted, when I look at where I was at, I played Byron in, 5 lineups, and I did Reddick in slightly more. I just, this is where the ownership should have been at Byron. I don't know why Byron was so pushed here. Could have been a salary perspective and stuff, right? But I just don't get that at all. Obviously, you have Blaney in the back of the field, Chastain, who was like the best, point for the play, from entering the weekend, and then obviously Larson. But I just don't know why Byron was the third highest driver, right? I don't know, that's very perplexing. Anyway, I just thought that was very interesting, because when we're looking at where Byron was at, his purple, this is what Byron would do in these races. Yeah, sure. Byron got up there and led, 9 laps led and 17 fast laps. That's what he did last year. That's what he would do in these races. I don't know why he was played by the field so much. That was just so interesting to see. Stuff. Anyway, we look through here. I would argue probably your best driver through the field was Larson, obviously. And then the fact that Logano performed probably better than people expected. Obviously, these idiots pit here and just throw away races. I don't know why we do that. But that's impressive to see from your main guys. Reddick Alex Bowman was able to gain positions back through strategy and stuff, and come up 7th after starting 6th, I believe. But in terms of ranking these guys, it's really, really difficult. Obviously, Larson gets the check of these 4 guys, but really past that, it's let me move this over here so we can kind of go over this together, and I'm making sure I'm going over guys. Let me look at Larson. Hold on. Reddick, Larson, Logano, and Bowman. I didn't understand why Logano came in so low as well. That's just really, really interesting. This is just a weird race from a DFS perspective. That's so strange. I don't know why Logano wasn't owned either. That's just so weird. This is a fucking weird race, man. This is a weird contest. So we look at those. Let's go ahead and look at the running positions for your other highest owned guys here in this race. So we look at Blaney, who I would probably argue Blaney probably had the second best car and probably would have led laps if he was not destroyed, if he was not eviscerated. We look at Byron, and we'll go ahead and look at Carson. So I'm following what I'm doing here is I just have this on the other screen. I'm just going down the highest owned guys, and we can analyze where these guys were at. So obviously we have William Byron in green. We have Chastain in orange, Hocevar in red, and Blaney in blue. Blaney had a spectacular run up to the field before he was involved in that wreck. I mean, that's really, really good to see. Now, he started off, I mean, the fact they drove through the field, obviously, we kind of expected that. Also, secondly, with how much, we will see ownership of the other guys in the field for the other series, the fact that Blaney came in at 56 is honestly kind of crazy. I honestly thought, the reason I went so high on Blaney is I thought he was going to come in way higher. I thought he was going to be at 65, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be overweight on Blaney today. I was kind of shocked when he came in so low. I mean, especially when he had the best car I mean, this Blaney is going to be optimal in this race. Outside of the wreck, had like the 5th fastest car. Pretty nuts. So we look at Chastain, who was able to get through the field. Nothing really shocking about that. Obviously, and more, analyzing what Byron did. We'll take off Chastain and Blaney at this point. We'll come back to Hocevar. This is what the field played? What the fuck, dude? Why was Byron at nearly 40% ownership? That's crazy. This is what he does. Like, if you guys want, we can go back and look at other races. Like, this is what Byron is. Like, he's gonna scrape off fast laps, and he's gonna need help to get the lead. Like that, I was floored when I saw Byron that high. That was crazy. We look at what Carson was able to do. Which very impressive. Now, granted, now I'm gonna come back to. Let's look at the value plays. I was gonna go down by like ownership and stuff, but if we look at the value of where people started, so this would be people in the backfield. So that's Hocevar, that's Justin Haley, that's Riley Herbst, that's Todd Gilliland. That's, who else am I forgetting here? Haley, Gilliland, Herbst. These are like your main, and yeah, we have Carson here. This is what these teams, so like there's really no true backmarker teams. Like sadly it's Rick Ware, because I'm a Rick Ware fan, right? It's Rick Ware by himself. And then anybody else who starts in the back of the field in situations like Gilliland, Haley, Herbst, Where, because there's so much pushback on, Gilliland, on just people in the shows. They're like, I'm not going to play Gilliland, he's slow. I don't know what you guys are looking at, or I don't know if you're focusing on like the end product of where these guys are starting. But like, look at where everybody's at in these races. Okay, yet again, Herbst. I'm going to say right now, Herbst needs to be priced up, and you need to play a lot of Herbst. Like, Herbst has amazing upside. The fact that he sped like 3 times a pit lane and was still able to get up through the field each time, that's impressive. Carson Hocevar knows what he's doing, especially when his teammates. Yet again, like we have, where is Justin Haley? These cars are showing speed. The only reason McDowell was unplayable was because he was starting first. But Hocevar, Gilliland, Herbst, and Haley were all phenomenal plays at really any given point. It just came down to Gilliland and Hocevar running into issues late in the race here that really hindered them. I believe they were both involved in the crash that took out Blaney, if I'm not mistaken. Or I have to go through and see what brought Hocevar down. Here, I don't remember here. However, on the grand scheme of things, whenever I look at this stuff, like if somebody runs into variance or issues late in the race, I can't really fault them for that when they showed decent speed the entire time, right? It just ended up being that Haley ended up being or one of the guys who started 14th or finished 15th, finished 14th, and Haley finished 19th and 20th. I mentioned in the live show that when we visualize what the end the end distribution of points on these races, I was telling people like granted, obviously we missed on like Barry, like that, just like side note with Barry, the fact that he ran very, very well at Phoenix, maintained a race position in the top 10 all day, and the fact that he ended up being pretty smart. We'll look at his race after this here. Barry needs to be considered going forward. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to have a very difficult time projecting Barry the entire year, because most of the time Barry is going to fall in line between like $77 and $8,400 going forward, at least for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks and stuff. And I'm going to project him for 9th, and he's going to look like a terrible play each race, right? He had a fantastic running position at Phoenix. Obviously, he ran pretty decent today. I have to project him for 9th each race, and I'm going to tell you right now, my stuff is not going to get to him at that price or at that projection. So I have no clue what to do with Barry going forward. But we look at the distribution of guys who are, we wanted the minimum of 40 plus upside. Stenhouse, Herbst, Haley, these value guys that we were considering. Hell, Nemechek started back. He's at 33, but I don't get this. I don't get this ownership. I don't know who people are playing in these like value range. Now, yet again, Gillen ran into a ton of issues at the end of the race, and same thing with Hocevar. But this is a situation where most value plays, especially at an intermediate track, if it's Spire guys, if it's front row guys, if it's Riley Herbst, they're going to have like realistic 40-point upside in these races, especially with things go green, and we're just able to see where they're going through the field. These guys are probably going to qualify poorly because they focus so much on the race. You need to keep that in mind when we're looking at these events. We look at Barry. Won the race at the end of and especially when Suarez loses the race when he's not able to complete that pass at this final restart here, and he's not able to hold him off, and then he starts fighting Byron. I'm pretty sure it was Byron, right? Who finishes behind? Yeah, it was. Yeah, they started race. They pre-said Byron. That's who it was. What do we chalk this up to? Yet again, when we're talking about upside of drivers, if you're a guy who runs in the 20s, you're not going to get lucky on strategy and win the race. You have to be able to put yourself in position to take advantage of pit stops. Where was Barry at all day? He was inside the top 10 all day. You take advantage of pit road or something happens, that's how you get here. So, like, you have to project. I mean, hell, even if we... Let me open up another one really fast here. Give me a moment. I might crash it. I don't know. I'm sorry that I'm, like, stopped up. As I said, just woke up, took a shower, and everything like that. So I apologize for the stopped up nose. Oh, my gosh. I hope I'm not echoing here. Really hope I'm not echoing. I'm so sorry if I was echoing. For this here. Where the fuck is this thing, dude? I want to look at Barry in this race here. Now, Grant, as I said, I have not used two of these at once. I might end up crashing this one. I'm not sure. We look at Josh Berry at Phoenix. You got to project him for like 9th. You have this is decent speed from Barry, and it's not because we're going from short track to stuff. Like this is pretty decent speed. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know what the hell it's gonna be price dependent on if he's thrown in my stuff, because I'm just gonna project him for 9th each week, going forward, with what happened here. What else? I mean, I think it's mainly the review from like a lap by lap perspective. I know we didn't go over each individual driver, but we can kind of see where everybody kind of fell in line at between, or we can see when we're looking at the fast guys and the values and how those guys did in this race. We can then see like, okay, if that's how the good guys and the value guys came through, we could see a lot of variance. We could understand the variance and stuff that happened between like other guys like Cindric and Chase Elliott and stuff like that. Like, Cindric and Elliott, fuck it, we'll just do those two here. We look at Cindric, we look at Elliott. Very, very similar, ranges of outcomes and stuff because they were, similar in speed now. Yet again, Elliott throws a lot away just at the end of the race. I believe he sped here. That's why he starts in the back of the field. We had a lot of speeding issues in this race here. As I said, I think Herb sped like 3 times. We had Hamlin speed. Although, he did speed here. We had Hamlin speed here. We had, Corey Heim sped the truck race and stuff. But anyway, looking at the... I got to refresh this now. I think what I'm going to do, because I'm tight on time, I think this is just going to be a review of the Cup Series race. I will do the Xfinity and trucks when I come back. I got to run around town today, and then I'm taking my partner to see their first hockey game in Dallas Tuesday night, and I come back Wednesday. So I'll do the other two races on Tuesday because I also have a meeting I have a TrueDFS meeting in 10 minutes. So we look at the most duplicated lineups in this race: Larson, Byron, Blaney, Chastain, Herbst, and Haley. A lot of the chalk did get eviscerated here. With Blaney running the issue. Let's see, where else he's at here. We see a count of 510, 150, 150, 135, 120, 116, 110, 90, 83, 83. These are your highest duplicated lineups in this. We look at the amount of 150 users, 65, 3 over 100, or in between 149. 6,321 single lineups, accounting for nearly 64% of the contest. I don't know about you, but like I said, when I view these big contests, there is a huge, giant ass percentage. Now, yet again, this is the 15th, so that's a high entry point for people, but 64% of the contest is being held by single entry lineups. This is, yeah. I even said that. I was like, wait, what? Yeah. So it's, which I would account to be very like cash similar lineups, very heavy on chalk and stuff. Because when people are like, oh, I'm going to do what lineup, they're going to take a lot of risk and stuff. And so over half the contest being held by, or at least the users, right? 64% of the users, whereas, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. We look at driver combos. We look at the highest owned two guys together. We'll let this load. And so your highest combinations of Chastain Blaney, Larson Blaney, Larson Chastain, Blaney Byron, Chastain Byron, Hocevar Blaney, Kyle Larson, William Byron. So this is what I find it. So like if I was going to play Byron, I'd play him with Larson, right? That's how I played. Yeah, so like I played him really tight with Larson, and then with other lap leaders. The fact that people had him solo with like, first off paired with Blaney and stuff, like I don't know why. I don't know why Blaney. I don't know why not Blaney. I don't know why Byron was so highly owned in this event. It makes like no sense. I don't know why he was that owned. Interesting, very interesting. Let's see. We go through. Let's look at the highest combinations of 3. All right, we'll try it again here. All right, we're looking at 3. Still loading on your. There's a little loading screen on this side that's showing stuff. That's why I just kind of sit here and wait. Highest 3: Larson, Chastain, Byron, Chastain. But like, I don't know why. I don't know. So that's so interesting, man. Very, very interesting. But these are your highest owned combinations. Let's go ahead and look at 4 really fast, just because this thing was such a kind of a high owned, very, very chalky type of slate. And this gives you a good idea of the type. I know we looked at the most duplicated lineups on the last tab, but having 2 1v1s and then seeing what the highest known guys here is interesting to look at. All right, 3, 6, 9, 12, 18. No, 15. I'm an idiot. That's why I don't do math on stream. 15% of lineups being pretty much held with 1v1s on here is interesting to see. Very, very nice. Very interesting. Very nice. Also, hold on. I didn't get the thing here. As I said, I will go over the truck and Xfinity on Wednesday. Truck, I lost the optimal lineup with 2 to go when Matt Mills outscored Luke because Luke fell through the field. And then I was very close on having takedowns for Xfinity. just for transparency. So this is my truck day. Lost the fucking optimal on all these stupid things with 2 to go. Came in very close on Xfinity. Just lost at the end. That's about all I can ask for. And then with all but 2 lineups with Ryan Blaney, this was my cup day. Just so everybody knows how everything went through. So when we're looking at my stuff, this is why, or this is how I, you can see how I approach things or whatever, right? So when we look at that, I mean, we could see my lineups, but I want to see this on my end. Since I have 5 minutes before my meeting. As I said, Truck and Xfinity will be recorded on Wednesday and or Thursday. Probably the same day we do the preview for Homestead. So I was over the field on Blaney, Larson, Herbst. Pretty much with the field on Chastain. Well over the field on Gibbs. Over the field on Reddick. Over the field on Gillen. Over the field on Keselowski. Which is so weird. Like, these guys carried so much ownership. And I was still over the field on them. Like, that's so interesting, man. We look at the... Yeah, and very, very interesting. Muy interesante. Well over the field on Gillen. It's a shame you're into an issue. My duplications, where are we at here? One lineup... Oh, shit, that's terrible. One lineup was played 511 times. That was this one. So I played this lineup too. That's a donkey move. I need to not do that and not play the highest, literally not play the highest owned lineup. That'd be great, Brandon. Second at 75, 64, 32, 16, 11, and then several with 3 and 4s. I look at mid. I did have, it looks like I had one that was not duplicated. Beat in 10. Very chalky slate. Unfortunate there. User comparison. I just... yeah, look at the... Gotta look at this slate. Do I want to compare? Do I want to look through anybody here? Let's look at the 150 guys really fast. So the guy who won the slate... Oh, this is a solo win too? That's crazy. Good for him. Let's look at his distribution of where he was at in terms of the field. Now, yet again, we need to get this fixed before everything goes live. But he had the most to William Byron, Reddick, Gibbs at 22, and this is exposure ratings. This is exposure on the bottom, lineup being showed here. Right, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what the number on the right means. I know 48 is the exposure rate. I don't know what... I gotta ask Asukas what that is. See, Todd, well over Ryan Blaney at 63, over at Chastain. Kyle Larson at 54. If you guys would also like me to do this with you, or not with you, I guess I could do it with you, fuck it, whatever. But I could always look at the, the drive exposure of the winning guy, if that's something that you think it would be useful or you would like. That I will do it selfishly on me, so we can see R. Yeah, he did a much better job here. Mainly just looking at this stuff here. Now, I only did 14 because I thought this... I typically do 20 for Truck and Xfinity. With the uncertainty of this, I did 14 on the Cup race. Interesting. Anywho, that's that. That's the Cup Series race at Las Vegas review. I think that's mainly it. I can't think of anything else. We were here for 40 minutes on one race. So I'll do the other two when I come back. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.